folks, Jonathan here. Alright, working on a little boiler. This is actually a natural gas boiler, or we can or probably will change it over to LP propane. So I want to show you a little trick first I learned, but we're going to test this thing out and do all the normal stuff, UT test, ultrasonic thickness tester. We're going to hit it with a hammer first a few times and make sure we can't find any thin spots at all. And we've got fittings that are broke off. Well, we got one right here. So I'm going to try an old method that I've used for a long time. You take a file, and it works good if you got a file that's hardened on the tip also. A lot of times they'll be hardened, but they won't be as hard as the rest of the file. But anyway, you hammer it in, you take a adjustable and you turn it and see if you can get it out. They usually work really good on pipes. I'm not saying they work good on bolts. I guess it would if you drilled a hole in the center first, but we've got a lot of holes to patch up. This is I believe it's a 1950 Columbia boiler, lap seam, as you can see. It actually has the thickness wrote on it of what it was. I can't remember. One was quarter and one was 3/8, I think. So it's 25.5 square foot of heating surface. So that means it's a 2.5 horsepower. 1 horsepower per every 10 square foot. So that would make it 25 square foot would make it a 2.5 horsepower. We've got 1950. We've got 5/16 thickness and 1/4 inch thickness. And I think I'm not sure which is which. We'll figure it out. 100 psi max. And that'd be working pressure, and then Columbia B company, so I'm assuming boiler. And there's our tag or our stamp there. So I think it's going to be a good little boiler. I'm going to show you the other parts for it. Didn't count the blues, but it's got small ones, and I don't think I've got a tool that'll fit this one, but these are so small you wouldn't want to use them for wood anyway, because they would clog up pretty quick. So just like I said, this is gas, so I'll show you the other parts for it, and I do have everything for it, and I don't think I'm missing anything on this one. And we'll try this when I get back from showing you that stuff. All right, okay, this came with the boiler that I bought. This is, now it's missing some parts, missing the crank and the flywheels, but I believe what we've come to the conclusion that this is a wall mounted engine. So it's got a flat mount on it, and it would have been a just turn one direction, so it could have been used for winching, maybe something up and then gravity down, or it could have been used as a line shaft, small line shaft engine. And the thing about it being a two-cylinder, it would start in any location, so it wouldn't be a bad engine to use as a line shaft. And it's small. I don't remember what the bore was. We'll look. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna say 4-inch bore. And so we've got enough parts that we can, if we decide to do it, put it together. We had to make some parts, but we could get by with that. Here's our burner. Now this is natural gas. Natural gas is low pressure, high volume. Let me see. Burner looks really good. I think it's going to be fine. It's cast iron, so it would have an orifice in here made for natural gas. So probably what we'll do, because we're going to go to a higher pressure, we'll make a piece in here and put maybe like a 35 MIG tip in here, and increase the propane pressure a little bit, and we'll get it to burn in here real good. And I think it would make a nice one. This is separate, it comes out, and then the base, of course, and then the top, and then it's got a cover around it that's got a little damage at the bottom. It's not too bad. And so we've got everything for it. There's regulators and stuff there, and as you can see, it was 3/4 inch pipe, which tells you real quick that it was natural gas and not propane. So anyway, really don't have a need for the boiler. I would like to check it out, see if it's good and all, and I may turn around and sell it. I don't know. Kind of like messing with them. Something to do a video on, something to do some testing on. We'll get a little practice at making sure that boilers are safe, right? All right. All right, folks, I had to put a little bit of heat on it. And so this one is not the best file for you. You can see it twisted, but it still got it out. And that's the important part. So usually work pretty good. That's a brass fitting there. I didn't know it was, but it is. So, and we didn't heat it very hot. We just went around a little bit. It didn't even turn red, so no worries there. So now let's layer down and go to hammering on it. All right, so we got this fence hammer. It's got a good point on it. And we're just going to go around looking for anything that would be thin. And we'll do the whole thing, and then up in the bottom, everywhere around it, just to make sure there's nothing crusty thin. I believe it or not, I seen a picture the other day of a boiler that I was actually around that boiler operating last year. It's not here, of course, another place, but they went to hydro test it this year, and it had a leak. And I think they got to poking around, and they shoved a screwdriver through the tube sheet, which is right here in the lower section. It's horizontal boiler, not a vertical. This is a vertical, but it's a big boiler. It's not a little one. It's like a locomotive style boiler. So it was thin at the bottom down there, and that should have never, I mean, honestly, it should have never come to that point. It should have never got close to being that thin and not knowing it, because it should have showed up on the ultrasonic thickness tester, and it would have shown up with a hammer. You would have got a crunch spot there, and it would have probably went through, because I mean, if you can push a screwdriver through it, you can surely put a hammer through it. So. Okay, folks, we've done our thickness test basically all around the base. If you go up, let me see. So if you go up, you can see where this seam is, and you could actually tell because you know, it's just a little bit thinner in a few spots than what it would be stock, which was 1/4 inch. Not enough to matter. I mean, it's just, you could just tell a little bit of a variation. And our tube sheets are 5/16, and it actually says on the boiler what they are. So it's 5/16, and this is 1/4, and everything checks out good. Went all the way around. You know, done a little checking here and there in other places, and of course checked the bottom. There's nothing wrong anywhere really with this boiler. So we're going on to the hydro test, and what we've got in it now is just a little pressure from the water hose itself. We don't have enough in it. This is a 100-pound or 100 psi boiler. I don't think I would run it at 100 just because it's an old lapsane boiler, but we are going to test it at 150 psi. We're going to try this a little different way, and somebody had mentioned this. I don't think in the video, I think it was some individual or something told me that when they tested a little boiler like this, they did use their pressure washer. Difference was they didn't do it with it running. They actually held the handle and left it turned off and just pulled the rope over to bring it up to 150, because there's no expandable space inside this boiler. So if you hit the trigger, it will shoot up instantly. And the last time I done it on the other one, it went up to 250, or it went up above 200 and ruined my gauge. I don't want to ruin this gauge because it's a good gauge. It's actually it does work, you know, perfect. And like I said, we're sitting on 45, which kind of weird. Yesterday my water pressure was 60. Today my water pressure is 45. Maybe somebody can touch on that. Of course, we got county water, so you know, it's not coming from a well or anything. So anyway, we're sitting right at 45, staying there. No leaks, but we need to run it up to the 150 so we can do the 1.5 times. And what I've done is I rolled it over, and I had taken this out to bleed all the air out, and that's why I'm doing it on its side. And then once I got all the air out, I did roll it back over, but it's completely full of water, no air whatsoever. And as you can see, I mean, it's holding steady where it's at, so there's no leaks at this pressure at 45. So, but like I said, we're going all the way to 150 with this thing. All right, folks, we're up at a little over the 150 mark. I guess we're at 155. So it's a little over 1.5 times, but We'll let her sit here a while and check her out again. So far, no leaks. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes and we have come down a little bit, as you can see. Now I set this thing upright and I think I found what the issue is. You can see a little bit of water coming out from around that tube. Now, normally you just re-roll this tube and it would expand it out. The problem is I don't have an expander. That's 3/4, I think, ID, but probably 1" OD. So I don't have anything that small. So what we're going to do is once we fire it and it gets the heat to it, we'll probably seal it anyway. But that's not enough to stop us from firing it in any way. So everything's checking out really good. You know, it's been here quite a while and it hadn't lost any more than that, but I'm sure it's the only place I see that's any wet coming out that's new anyway. And that's something that that's pretty common for something like that. You know, there's no welds or anything on them tubes, as a lot of you may have seen. You roll them in and then you pin the head over basically. But everything looks good. This thing not scaring me a bit to fire it. Had not bought a pressure relief valve yet. I like to buy new ones. I don't like to use the old ones if I can keep from it, but unless they're in really good shape. So what we'll probably do is buy 60, 80 pound. You know, it's a 100-pound working limit, but I mean, there's no reason why we need to run it at 100 pounds. I mean, we're not, if we decide to start, you know, doing some work with it, that'd be different, but just for playing, you don't really need it. Oh, folks, I walked in the house and guess what? That's not good. That's what happens when the sun comes out. So the heat of the sun has increased the pressure that much really quick. I'm gonna bring it back down. Yeah, so we're out here gaining pressure instead of losing. You can actually see it moving. That's crazy. It's slowly moving up. Much heat. It's kind of chilly out here earlier, you know, when I started doing this. Guess it makes a difference. We'll come back out here in a little bit and check it again. So we're going to leave it sit here at 140. So we know this is good, and we know this pressure relief is bad. And I'm going to go ahead and get one of them on the way, and I'll probably get a new sight glass and some tricocks on the way. I got plenty of gauges and the pigtails for the gauges, and we will probably build this boiler and fire it. And I've got another sonar. We may make a air sonar, maybe a hand pump out of it. We'll see how it goes, but we'll show you more on this later. All right, folks, I figured since I can't really do anything on that little boiler until I get some parts in, which I've ordered, we're going to fire the boiler up today, run the engines today. Probably going to be the last time this year, and I think I'm going to close everything down for the winter, blow the lines out. We're going to get ready, and we're probably going to before we fire the boiler again spring, we'll probably go ahead and do the inspections on it, hopefully, and get the state boiler inspector out here and see how that works out. So what the changes are for this time: we've got a 5 chime whistle off of I think it's off a New Haven 060 locomotive, or switcher locomotive. And what we've done, we've got a valve on it to shut it off, you know, in case we do have any issues up there. I do have a drain on it to help drain the line, because you can't have, you know, too many drains, especially when you're this far from the boiler. And this has got a homemade valve on it, and we're going to see how it's going to work. I think it'll work okay. It's down, it's a 2-inch line running down to an 1.5-inch valve, and then back out to a 2-inch into the steam whistle. It'd been nice if it was all 2-inch, but it really, you know, it's not that big of a deal. So I think hopefully it'll work okay. I've never seen this style set up. The guy that made this said he's tested it up to 50 psi and it's worked fine. And that machined the valve, so really neat the way he done it. So I think we'll be okay. And then it's not going to be long either. See, I want to take a few parts back off the baits and go ahead and pressure wash, clean, and paint it. You know, we've got a lot of stuff figured out how we want it. I've got, you know, parts of the governor. We don't have it finished yet, but finally getting the oil situation figured out. As you can see, we got a mess on top of it, but I was running a hydrostatic lubricator and I had a gasket blow on it the last time, and I think we're just going to do away with it. We're going to leave it on there. I think we'll clean it up. We're going to do away with it, and I've now hooked up a mechanical lubricator, which is right here, and I actually drilled and tapped into the end of this bolt for the cordless gear, and we've got everything set up to where this thing will work ratcheting, and we're going to see how this works out, and then go with it instead of the hydrostatic. Mechanicals are a little bit more well, they don't change with the RPM. In other words, depending on how much pressure you've got, the hydrostatic lubricator, or displacement lubricator, may operate a little different. So you need to pay more attention first, and second, I just don't trust them as much as I do the mechanical. The mechanical is pretty much it's working or it's not thing. So anyway, so and like I said, I really want to pressure wash this. I think we're going to paint the engine green, repaint the base, maybe black, may end up painting the concrete. One of the things is we did learn where it leaks oil and where it don't, you know, when it comes to oil in it, because the problem with an engine like this is you majorly over oil it. You know, when a show engine's just gonna, you know, you're walking around with an oil can all the time oiling it, and you really don't need to be doing that, and so you end up with messes like this. So I've changed out, I went to grease on the eccentric strap, and actually the rod too, and grease, you know, the cups work really good because, you know, you just tighten them down every once in a while and it shoots the grease in, and I can actually see that there's grease all the way around the eccentric, so it's working really well, and that'll keep it from leaking the oil down. Now up here, you know, it's just we've over oiled it, that's all it is to it. So anyway, and I've located another cordless in the woods. We may be doing some videos on that soon. And but anyway, we're going to get fired here. I've got to run and grab a water hose. Well, I've got one leaking. I'm tired of messing with leaking hoses, so I'm going to go grab a new water hose, and then we're going to come back and we'll fire. It's early, so we've got plenty of time. So we'll run the main ones we're going to be running today. Again, will be the Schofield Tat Ironworks engine and the Bates engine, and we'll run some of the other ones on and off, but these two here will probably stay running the whole time. Really like this engine. Like I said, we got a mechanical lubricator on it also, so you just prime it up a few times, and then it will automatically pump into the cylinder, and they work really well, so I like them. And all right, so let me go get some hose, or get a hose, and we'll be back at it in a little bit. All right, folks, wind's been blowing all day today. We've been running most all the day. Mechanical lubricator has been doing good on the engine. We're going to fire this engine back up here in a few minutes, but stop to make some adjustments. So it's been working really well. I really like that lubricator over the hydrostatic lubricator. Seems like I said, it'd be more durable. Okay, we've been running this one all day. We may fire it back up too before the day's up, but the whistle seems to be working good. I'm going to blow it once real quick.
1 hour. What is it for an hour now? That'd be, it's like $7.
How much for an hour?
$7 an hour.
Oh, well, man, I'm glad to update my meter in it. All right. The thing is deafening at 100 psi. Crazy how loud it is. Set up. Neat. 10 horsepower Carling turbine engine. Alright, we got an intercat inspecting out here. She likes the steam engines for some reason. We still got a little noise in this one, we got to get it out. It's not bad. Alright folks, we got our lights on out here. A little bright, huh? Well, anyway, so we've ran all day and it's dark and I'm about to go in. We're down to about 20 pounds. And the fire is burning down, ain't much left. So anyway, all right. I did find another cordless engine. Hope to acquire. We'll see what that does. We've got to get busy on foundations. We've got 3 engines to set up. 2 real big and then the Erie engine, and I really need to get on it. I've had some other stuff I needed to get done, and I'm about all finished up with it. And we're going to put a full winter of working in. We're also going to pressure wash this engine, take some stuff off that don't need to be on it, and paint everything. Probably paint that black, the engine green, back like it's supposed to be, dark green like that, and then maybe even do the concrete. I don't know. So we'll see. But anyway, I appreciate everybody watching, and we'll be back on this little boiler here when the parts come in. Maybe we can get it fired and run a little engine on it and just see how it does. All right. Appreciate everybody watching. Till next time. Bye.